This first recipe is actually one of my favorites. I know it sounds really gross, sweet potato breakfast cups, but trust me, this is actually really tasty and I hope I can persuade you guys. All you need is 2 sweet potatoes, a cup of coconut chips, 1 tablespoon chia seeds, a third of a cup pumpkin seeds, half of a cup of chopped nuts, a third of a cup maple syrup, 2 tablespoons of coconut oil, a pinch of salt, and a teaspoon of cinnamon. All you have to do from here is take your sweet potato and cut it up into small pieces. I don't have a technique or a strategy, I'm just going at it. So just try to make them all even as possible. So once you're done chopping up all your sweet potatoes, just transfer them into a pot and fill it up with water and boil it for 30 minutes. Once it's done boiling, drain the water and peel off the skin. As you can see, the skin peels off really easily. It should slide right off. If you're having trouble peeling off the skin, you might want to boil your sweet potatoes for a little bit longer. Once that's done, mash up your sweet potatoes with a fork. At this point, you can add in your cinnamon and salt, or you can leave it out, it's just optional. Once you're done mashing it all up, set it aside, and we're gonna start on the homemade granola, which is actually my favorite part of this entire recipe. For the granola, you're going to need 2 cups of coconut flakes, half of a cup of chopped nuts, or you can leave the nuts out, a fourth of a cup of pumpkin seeds, fourth of a cup of chia seeds, 3 tablespoons of coconut oil, and some maple syrup. Start off by mixing all your dry ingredients into a large bowl, and then set that aside so we can start on our syrup. For the syrup, you're going to need a medium saucepan. Pour in your coconut oil and your maple syrup and put it on medium heat for about 3 to 4 minutes. Pour it over your dry mixture and give it a really good mix. You want to make sure everything is evenly coated. Then pour it into a baking pan that is lined and firmly press down to make sure it is an even layer. Then bake this at 350 for about 20 to 25 minutes. Once it's done, it should look something like this, goldeny brown and really crispy edges. It is seriously that simple and it's so tasty. Your kitchen will also be smelling so divine at this point. And what I like to do is pour this in a mason jar and store it in my pantry and use it throughout the week. Now you're ready to serve it up. So here I am pouring it into a little cup. I'm also storing some in a mason jar so I can just have it for later. Just pop it in your refrigerator. Then take your delicious granola and top it all off. And seriously, this is one of my favorite breakfasts at the moment. It's really healthy and it has that really sweet and crunchy taste to it with the granola. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe. Give it a try and let me know if you end up trying it and if you like it. My second recipe is a breakfast quinoa bowl. This is really hearty and very healthy. It's also very satisfying and filling because it keeps you full for a really long time since it's high in fiber and protein. So what you're going to need for this recipe is a cup of quinoa, almond milk, chia seeds, maple syrup, cinnamon, almond butter, and an apple. The great thing about this recipe is you can really customize it and change up the toppings and make this completely different. So you can swap out the almond butter for either Nutella or for some jam. Start by combining your quinoa, almond milk, and cinnamon together in a pot and give it a really good mix before taking it over to the stovetop. Then just cook it per the instructions on the quinoa bag, and once it's done, it should look something like this. I know it looks a bit dry, but we'll be adding some liquids later. So add your maple syrup, your chia seeds, a splash of water, and another half cup of almond milk. And then give it a really good mix. Now you can definitely add more liquid to this if you like the consistency to be a little bit more watery. It really is just a personal preference. So once you're done with that, you're basically done with the quinoa. It's really quick and you can make large batches and save it for later. So here I am just plating a heapful into a plate, then following it up with my chopped apples. Then I'm pouring in a little more of almond milk because I like to eat this kind of like cereal. Then topping it off with my almond butter for some added protein. And that's pretty much it. I really love all the different textures and flavors in this bowl. So I really hope you guys like this recipe. If you try it out, let me know. My last recipe is chia pudding with a layer of peanut butter and chocolate. This is a great healthy dessert type of breakfast, especially for kids. It's still high in fiber with the chia seeds, high in protein with the peanut butter and quinoa. What you need for this recipe is chia seeds, raw cacao powder, almond milk, peanut butter, maple syrup, water, cooked quinoa. I'm using the quinoa that we used from the last recipe, or you can use plain quinoa. chocolate chips, a scoop of protein powder. This is optional. If you're an adult, definitely add in more protein to keep you full and satisfied throughout the day when you're fasting. And then last but not least, dates, which is also optional, but I think adds really good energy. We're gonna start by making the chia pudding. So pour in your chia seeds, the cacao powder, protein powder, and your milk, and give that a really good stir. This will take about 15 minutes to become a pudding texture, so keep giving it a good mix and then set it aside. After about 15 minutes, this is what the consistency should look like, kind of thick and pudding-like. So once you have this consistency, set it aside so we can start making our peanut butter layer. So scoop in your peanut butter, your maple syrup, and a splash of water. I know it looks really gross and you're wondering why water, but this will help thin it out. And at first it is kind of hard to mix. You'll see me struggling here as well, but keep mixing it. I think after about 4 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes, it became a really creamy and smooth texture that you will see right here. So once you get this texture, then you're ready to layer and assemble. Starting off with the chia pudding first, put a good heaping full of that, then layer the peanut butter, and then lastly I'm going to top it off with a heap full of the quinoa. This adds really good texture. Top it off with some chocolate chips and dates. And there you have it, a very sweet and definite dessert type of breakfast that is great to give you energy, fiber, and keep you full throughout the day. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to see iftar meal prep ideas, leave that comment down below, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!